Hi everyone, it's Andrew, and I'm just going to give you a little update on the WPL build so far. And I've been doing some tyre forms. So that's the main thrust of what I want this video to be about. Painting and weathering is very so-so, but what's new is the idea of tyre form making. I've never done it before. Now the problem with the WPL kits, specifically this one I'm talking about, is that the tyres that come with it and the wheels that come with it, the wheels are plastic, but there's no foams in here. So these ones are not bad. I'm happy to keep them. I think they look quite scale. They seem reasonably grippy. Not as grippy as some, but they're reasonably grippy for what this truck's going to be doing. But they don't have any foams in. And I suspect that they are just going to, you see how soft they are, that they are just going to roll over. I don't think that they are going to be anything like strong enough in a downhill situation. I think they're just going to rattle around, wobble around far too much. So what I wanted to do was make some foams for them, and I have done. And here's one that's got foams in it. Still not glued, but it's got foams in it. It's quite difficult to show you the difference, but if I try and squeeze with the same amount of pressure, there is still give in this one, but it's not kind of pancaking. So, and it's got a much firmer sidewall, so I don't, I think it's going to have a much more resilient nature to it. It's not too hard still. I don't really know how much the truck's going to weigh, and I'm going to add weight to the truck anyhow. But I'm going to call that a success. Now, what it is, it's a two-stage form. Get me with my two stages, eh? It's that, okay, with a hole cut in the middle of it. Yeah, and there's the bit that came out in the middle. So what I've got here is, this is a tyre from some sort of touring car, I don't know, street car tyres that I don't know, I think I bought these for the rims. I think the little JGRC Jeep I've got, the Q65, the rims it's wearing came wrapped around these tyres, and I've put it on better rally tyres. So these are surplus, as are their foams. Now the foams are about the same, about the right size, and they're about the right diameter. So these are fine, but they're not thick enough. You can see that they're just not thick enough compared to the sidewalls. So that's where the two stages comes in. Now these are the inserts from a set of cheap three ply foams I bought off eBay. They're in a G-Made bag, nothing to do with G-Made. These I bought these on eBay for about £8 for 4. They're next to useless because they're all soft. all three rings are soft, so they've never been used. They're just junk. But they came like this. So I've taken this out of the middle, and after that it's child's play really. You just got to make sure you cut the right size hole, which I do by, I just put the foam behind, roughly line it up, trace it through with a scalpel, and Bob's your uncle. So that is how I've then, it's not that one, it's this one. And then you just pack them both in, put the rim in, and obviously with the aluminium rim, it'll go in, it'll get glued in, I think. I don't know, I've never glued an aluminium rim before, but I'll try gluing it. And that'll be that. So, and this stuff sticks to you like a crazy thing. So yeah, that's what I'm been doing. I'll put the top on the white spirit before I give myself a headache. Yeah, so the WPL's coming along nicely. The chassis has been painted. It's that way up, isn't it? The shocks, I've turned the shocks around because I didn't want too much paint on them. So the chassis is now black. Just, I wanted to get rid of all the chromy, different metals, all that stuff. It's going to be a beaten up old FJ, so it needs to have a low key chassis and axles and all the sort of non-scale stuff. It will, from here, it will get a coat, a light spray of brown, just to give it that kind of dusty patina. Oops, there goes a foam. And I'll do some dry brushing and generally pick out some bits and bobs. I'm not too fussy. The first time it goes out and gets muddy, that'll do the job nicely, but just until then, I don't really want a shiny chassis, you know, under the weathered and beaten up exterior carbon, so forth. So yeah, so that's where I am. That's my update. Okay, more on. Hi everyone, here's the bodywork, and I've roughly put it together. It's still all many parts, nothing's joined. I've just put it together so it looks right for you. It's green, as you can see. It's a Vauxhall green, a car paint from Halfords. Can't remember what it's exactly called, but it's this is what it's looks a bit kind of utilitarian. That's what I wanted, a kind of utility color. White roof, and it's going to have white rims. It's going to be black bed, black chassis, black bumpers. And what I've done is salted it. So I've primed it, put some brush painted some aluminium on, brush painted some rust colors over that, and then added salt to the patches, sprayed the top coat, rubbed the salt off, and this is what you get. It looks quite odd at this stage because I've got pristine paintwork and then the whole pile of rusty metalwork. So it kind of contrasty, kind of not it's not blended. Obviously when it is blended, hopefully it's all going to look really cool. I obviously am aiming to make this an old truck, an old worn tired truck. It's not going to be obviously showroom condition at all. I like the salting technique particularly because it gives you that nice definition of areas at this scale. I think that's what you need. You know, if you're looking at a full-size truck that was only this big in the distance, you wouldn't see any blending, any kind of feathered edges. You just see bare metal patches and paintwork, I think. The other thing I like about salting is that it gives you a sort of rough three-dimensional finish. Now I'll try and show you that on here. It's very hard. This is the rack for the that sits here on the truck. Right, so if I can get this in the light, so on here you can hear it probably. Can you hear that texture? So what happens with the salting is if you put some dust on, you put some very small granules of salt on, you don't take them off afterwards, so you leave them under the paint, so it looks like a bubble effect, like the paint's bubbling up, you know, like a rusty car does, which I really do like. I think that is what sets it apart from some of the other techniques I could have chosen. Maybe if I look at the door on here, is it going to pick that up? I don't know how good the focus is on this fancy new camera phone. Maybe you can see down the door here. Look at that. Yeah? You can see their texture. You can hear it. So it's like a paint spoiling. That's how it's going to be. That's how it is at the moment. I'm not doing a lot with it right now because I'm a bit busy editing. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's going to look really cool in this green. It's a handsome little truck, and so far the chassis seems really capable. Hopefully the paintwork, the overall finish and aura of the truck will match the truck's performance. But for now, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from my WPL. Okay, so this is a quick demonstration. I've put the gear servo in, so I can now change gear using the two buttons on my tactic radio at the top there, at the top of the handle. This, I believe, is crawler gear. And just check out the wheel speed that I can generate, how smooth this is. Look how smooth that is. That is quite something. And it's a Hobbywing 1060, let me remind you. Pretty impressive stuff. Right, let me change gear. The initial take-up is much faster, now it's in top speed mode. But again, buttery smooth. just a little quicker to take up. And obviously I've got the appropriate wheel speed much faster, and we're up. Not much drag brake on the way back. Yeah. Let's try going down. So this is still in high speed mode. No finger on the trigger. Yeah, not a lot of drag brake there. Right, let me change gear. Now we're in crawler gear. In a 1060, it's a bit kind of all or nothing. It's kind of on or it's off. But there is drag brake.